Okay, she be going every single night. Day and night on my mind, pushing you to vibe.
How's it going, everybody? This is Top Dropper. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright, so as I've mentioned in multiple of my videos, I lived in a large number of towns while I was going to school, and it wasn't very fun to say the least. However, living in each of those towns that I've mentioned, like Chatham, Livingston, Springfield, Kanewan, Union, for example, I've taken the time to study each one of the locations that I have lived in and see which are the best destinations to go to, particularly with restaurants or school-wise, and even, just to have a little bit of fun and know exactly which could be the better place to live at when I do get my own home. So I thought I'd share those thoughts on that with you. Today I'm going to rank the 5 best towns that I lived in during my childhood. Which ones I think are the best, why exactly I think they are the best, and what my advice for you would be in case you're planning to move out and get your own home in any of those locations, or any location that is not on this list for say. Now again, this is just my personal opinion. This is not the overall top 5 that most others would decide. Again, this is just only the places that I have lived in over the last few years. This is just, in my opinion, what I think are the best places to live at and what I have learned from each of those 5 towns that made me think of where I have put them in my particular top 5. Number 5 on this list would be Kanewan. Now, this was the place where I ultimately graduated from high school in 2016. I only lived a year there. However, it was mainly almost like a forest-like atmosphere. There wasn't really much to do there. There was a baseball field nearby my home. There was a Munchies nearby my house that I would drive to just to get some lunch with whenever I was with my dad, when I went out with him for dinner a few times. But otherwise, there isn't a whole lot about this place that really makes this so exciting. There's really no sidewalks, so it's much harder to stay on the road without risking getting hit by anybody that's around you, particularly an oncoming car or something like that. And even though I was able to walk around something like that, the library itself, while I did do an internship there wasn't really a whole lot of options that I could do, particularly since, there wasn't a whole lot of quiet place for me to be able to read all my books. And not only that, it was a very small school as well, so there wasn't really much to learn. Although it was a pretty good staff there, I did enjoy the staff there. It just wasn't a very exciting place to live in. Otherwise, there just isn't a whole lot that's going on there in Kanewan. And in my opinion, while it is a decent and quiet town, I feel like it is a little bit too quiet. Not a knock on Kanewan overall. I definitely believe it is a pretty good neighborhood around the Morris County area, but at the same time, I definitely wish that there were a lot more fun things that I could do there during my time there in Kanewan. Even though it was brief, I didn't really enjoy much of the scenery there. I feel like that, it was a little more quiet, and it really just didn't feel like that it was a whole lot of fun there. So that's exactly why I put it at number 5 on my list. Number 4 would be in Chatham. Now, I lived in Chatham from 2009 all the way to 2013. That was where I spent the entirety of my middle school days, and ultimately started high school at before I started my move-a-rama during my high school days, which was probably not a whole lot of fun whatsoever. It was also while I was there that I learned the ropes of playing football with some of my friends, and that was really where I got my first experience there. I played there from 7th grade all the way to my freshman year in high school, and of course I continued playing football afterwards in the other 2 towns that I lived at, and really that was a whole lot of fun. I got an opportunity to play a lot of sports, and Chatham itself was particularly a sports town. It wasn't just football. Lacrosse happens to be very big there during that time, especially hockey and basketball and a whole lot of other sports like that. So there was a lot that you can do sports-wise there, whether or not you were in high school, middle school, or even youth activities, something like that. So there was always ways for you to be able to stay active. There was also a small pool there and a basketball court there that I could play the basketball at during my time there when I was at the park there. So I was able to spend some time there at the park playing a little bit of basketball with a basketball that I actually won during a field trip there. There were also some pretty good eats as well. There was actually a sandwich shop there that unfortunately was recently burned down that me and my best friend Andrew went to get some lunch at a few times when I was hanging out with him, and that was a pretty good place to be at, and I really enjoyed those times. And it also has the Fish Whack event that happens every May or in June as well, so there's a lot going on there in Chatham. But like Kanewan though, it's also a really small town as well, so there is a lot more that you can do there, that you can entertain yourself. But I still still feel like that, being the small town it is, I definitely feel like that there could be a lot more to do as well. But it was a good town. I definitely enjoyed my time there in Chatham. I really liked the scenery around there, and I definitely feel like that, if there was just a couple more things there that maybe I hadn't seen before that would help improve my experience there during my time there, I feel like it would have been a lot better experience. But it was still good nonetheless. I really like Chatham, and I really miss all the friends there, especially my best friend Andrew there, who I haven't seen in a long time. I believe he's now teaching in high school there actually, and that's pretty exciting. So I look forward to seeing him soon, maybe see a little bit of his job as well, and hopefully hang out with him again at some point. But Chatham's still a pretty good town, and it's definitely a place that I would definitely recommend living in for at least a little bit, if not for a very long time. Number 3 on this list would be Springfield. Now, of course, this is the town that I currently live in, and of course, there is quite a bit to do around here, but again, having spent the last few years here in Springfield living with my dad, there is a lot that I have learned that makes this place rather unique compared to all the other towns that I've lived in. First off, there's a lot of dining and restaurants that are actually around my area. There's actually a Domino's Pizza nearby, along with a Tomato Garden and a Picante Taste of Mexico, which is actually one of my favorite restaurants that I got to go to, especially TD Pizza as well. There's a lot of pretty good eats there at Springfield that I got to see during my time and even try as well. I also got to walk around quite a bit too. I mean, usually during the spring and summer, it's actually a lot of fun. There's a lot of people that are out walking around on the streets, even exercising a little bit, and usually there's a lot of pretty good scenery as well. There's a few parks as well, especially one that's nearby Route 22 as well that my dad would go to whenever he was exercising, and I was there a couple of times with him as well to see the 4th of July fireworks as well, and so that's quite a bit of fun as well. And of course, as I mentioned before, I'm a video game collector. There is a digital press here at Springfield as well, and that's one of the places that I've gone to almost either once or twice a month, so that way I can get new video games in my collection. So I really enjoy going to that place. But Springfield is a very good town, and it's a town that I definitely enjoy living in. Again, could there be more? Yes, but I feel like that having spent the last 6 years here, I know exactly that Springfield is going to be a quiet area, but unlike in Kanewan, there's a lot more that you can do around here in Springfield than there is in Kanewan. And so I feel like that Springfield is a really good place to live at, and I definitely would like to see maybe when I do move out of my house, maybe I can find a home somewhere around here so that way I don't have to move very far. But it's still a great town nonetheless, and I really enjoy living here in Springfield. Number 2 on this list would be in Livingston. Now, I only spent 2 years there in Livingston, New Jersey, and that was from my sophomore year all the way to my junior year in high school. And during that time, I played football and lacrosse when I was in Livingston. In fact, those were the only 2 years that I ever played lacrosse. But although I struggled there in high school, I did find quite a bit of fun there in Livingston. There was actually a lot that you can do. The students that I actually met during the 2 years there in Livingston were actually some of the very best that I got to be with. There were a lot of very cool friends that I met there during my 2 years there, and really, we just had so much fun. I went to junior prom with them, and really, that's just a whole lot of fun with them as well. I got to do a lot of activities with them, and really just explore a lot more there than I didn't think that I would. Not only that, it was also nearby a highway as well. There was a lot of really good cuisine as well. I know there's obviously some of the fast food areas, but there are also some new places as well that I got to try there during my time as well, and that really proves to be a lot because there's a lot of great places there as well, including a frozen ice area that I used to go to once in a while, and there was some pretty good eats there, and there was also, like I said, a park there as well, but I did not enjoy the swimming pool there. Like you said, I am not a fan of swimming, and unfortunately I did have to deal with being dragged there a few times quite a bit, but that was the part I didn't like. But everything else though, the scenery is definitely very, very good, especially during the summer. And believe it or not, there was actually a mall there. Like I said before, there was the Livingston Mall, and it was actually really very close by my house. In fact, from where I lived during the 2014-2015 year, I actually was within maybe a few minutes walk away from the Livingston Mall, and that was very, very fun. If you have not been to the Livingston Mall, I'd definitely go there and check that out. There are a lot of great places to see and a lot of great things to do there while you're shopping there. Unfortunately, the one negative about my time at the Livingston Mall was that was where I had one of my jobs there in Burger King, and like I said, it was pretty eventful, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos. But yeah, Livingston, in my opinion, is actually one of the more surprisingly better towns that I've been in. I actually really enjoyed all the things that I got to explore there in Livingston, and in my opinion, it's definitely, if I didn't have to be that far from my job in Newark, it would definitely be a place that I really enjoy getting to live in again, even as my own homeowner. So yeah, props to everybody at Livingston. They have a really good community there, and really it's definitely a great place to be at, and I really hope that I get to go see Livingston again. It's definitely one of the best places here in the state of New Jersey, and I really enjoyed my brief time there. But overall, my favorite town that I lived in during my childhood, and is still near and dear to my heart, it is in Union. Now, this is where I had my really earliest memories of my childhood, and probably some of my best as well. Although there are also some of my worst too, but there was still a lot of fun living in Union. That was where I started out in elementary school, obviously, and also went to 5th grade, although that school where I went to 5th grade was over in Vauxhall. But still, Union, New Jersey is a place that still is close, near and dear to my heart. I mean, literally, there was a whole lot that you can do there. When I was there at Connecticut Farms, there was a lot that I learned during my time there. That was where I started to learn a little bit about, where I wanted to go in my life, and really just, just have some fun with friends as well. It was definitely a good time there during at Connecticut Farms, and really it was where I forged my way into where I am right now. And really, those were my early beginnings there when I was in school. It was quite a bit of fun there, although there were still some rough times there too. There are also some pretty good places to check out as well. I know there's a Huck Finn Diner, which I've mentioned quite a bit before. It's actually my favorite local restaurant, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, and I still go there quite a bit. I was actually there earlier this month to celebrate Eid with my family, and not only that, there are also a lot of other good places as well to go to. There was even a thrift store, as I mentioned, 2nd Avenue there, which I've been through quite a bit, and whenever I was walking around, I even dropped by a Union quite a bit. I would walk around, go past the movie theater that was there, and then just walk all the way back. There was a lot of things that you could do there. And I mentioned the movie theater as well. Me and my dad used to go there quite a bit when I was a kid, but unfortunately that place has not opened up since the pandemic began, and unfortunately I don't see it opening again anytime soon, and that's a shame because I really enjoyed going to the Union movie theater, and especially since it was very close to my house where I used to live in, that was definitely a great place to go see a movie or two when I was younger. So I'm very sad to see that theater not open up, unfortunately. And of course, Union is next to the Route 22 highway, and of course it's actually interconnected to it as well, and there are a lot of other great places there on Route 22 that you got to go to that you could check out as well. There's the Union Plaza Diner there. I went there a few times as well, and they have some pretty good eats there. There's a whole lot of other restaurants as well, and fast food as well. And of course, there were a few supermarkets there where I could go there and shop as well, get some food as well. And really, it's just a great place. It was a lot of fun. It definitely really was. And Union, New Jersey, although I have not been there in a few years, all the things that you could do while you were there, it's just brought me much more closer to that town. In fact, I still live now right next door to Union here in Springfield. I don't even have to go very far to walk over to Union as well, and maybe explore some things there as well. I mean, there's still a lot of that town that has changed quite a bit, but at the same time, in my heart, it still feels like the same Union, New Jersey that it was a few years ago. I don't remember what happened to the house when I had left there. I know there's a new occupants there, but I really like to go back to the old home that I used to live at too and see what's happening there. I mean, it was definitely a good neighborhood there as well, and I just really miss being there as well. It was definitely a pretty good home that I lived in during that time. And yeah, so if, in my opinion, I was to move out by the end of this year, and I still hope to do that, and find my own home, just so that way I can stay close to Newark without having to actually move into the city, so that way I don't have to travel very far to get my job and back, it would most likely be somewhere in Union, New Jersey. It's definitely a very good town to be at. It's really a good town and a safe town as well. And I feel like that, it's definitely a place where I can just settle in and just, be myself and just have a little bit of fun as well. I really enjoy being in Union County, especially in Union, New Jersey. I feel like Union County is my overall favorite county to live in, and I just feel like that, everything that's so close and dear to me so far has been connected to Union, New Jersey. So if I was to move out, it would definitely be somewhere in Union, New Jersey. Springfield, New Jersey also counts as well. I would definitely like to find a home here as well, but really Union is still right at the very top as it stands right now. Now, if I were to ever move out into a city, if you were to ask me if I want to live in Newark, so that way I wouldn't have to go very far to get my job, unless I was brave enough to deal with all the crime that was happening overnight there, my answer would probably be no. I mean, look, whenever you're living in Newark, yes, the rent there might be cheap. The unfortunate part about that though is that there's still a lot of crime that takes place there in Newark at night, and even at points during the day as well. That's just something that I really don't want to be affected by whatsoever. So, living in the city, unless unless I was really forced into doing it, would definitely not be in the equation. I would rather be in a small and quiet town close by to it, so that way I don't have to travel very far. But yeah, those are just all the places that I lived in during this time that, in my personal opinion, were some of the best or some of the worst. Again, I know there may be some polarizing opinions on that from those that have lived in those towns or have dropped by there a few times as well, but this is again just my personal opinion. New Jersey, in my opinion, is a great state, and it's probably one of the best states to live in the United States whatsoever, and a lot of the places there you can definitely find quite a bit to do. And even if there's a place that you're living in where there isn't a whole lot of that, you can just try your best to make the most of it. And so whatever town you live in, do your best to make the most of it, because there's definitely something that you can do during the time there that you can definitely do and have a little bit of fun with as well. So that's just my personal opinion, but in my opinion, I think every town there is pretty good in my opinion. So my personal question to all of you guys to finish this video is, what is your favorite place to live in? If you lived in multiple towns, which one do you think was your favorite, or what is your favorite place to stop by in New Jersey? Feel free to let me know down in the comments. I'll be more than interested in hearing your opinion about it. Anyways, that's going to do it for another video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. Comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's vlogs, projects, or challenges, you name it. Leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for another midweek upload. Hope you all are having another great day. As always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. So long, everybody.